What's up, friends? Welcome to the studio. I'm eating these things, pork, I guess. Sorry if you are a pig. And I'm drinking a bubbly. Congratulations to Aiden for putting us all in danger by getting his license or permit or something. And besides that, I don't think I have anything else for an intro. So welcome to the stream. Here we are, good old FL Studio. I looked at the amount of tracks. Check this out. Oops. Just about 1,500 songs we've listened to on the stream over the past couple years, and 85 weeks. So that's almost, it's almost like 2 years. Thanks, Bleed. That's a lot of songs that we've listened to. That's cool. I like that. I like looking at that stuff. It's neat. Anyway, whatever. Who cares? Do you care? I don't care. What's supposed to go down in my bottom left? That's supposed to be my... Oh, Spectrum Analyzer. Wow. Just as I'm talking about how many times we've done this, I can't even remember how to do things. Okay, anyway, let's have a listen. Oh, we got Cheese with the massive amounts of headroom again. Thank you, Cheese, for the headroom. How many tracks have you listened to all the way through without pausing to give feedback? I don't think Windows File Explorer can tell me that statistic, so we'll have to just speculate. Let's give this a bump in volume. All right, let's have a listen to what Cheese has given us today. All right, this, like always, very good musically. I dig the emotion in the chords. I think the piano is quite quiet, especially when the rest of the beat kind of drops out. The piano is just like, it sounds like it's like on the other side of the room, being shy. So like all the elements are I love what they're doing. I love the do 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 do. It's all good, but just mix wise, it's to me there's a few things that are off. So if I undo or just bypass this. It's almost like the drums. The drums aren't really driving this thing. The drums almost sound like they're underneath some of the elements. But like it's a cool melodic. I don't know if you'd consider this like trance or progressive or something. It's cool. I do find that the drop sections or wherever it's supposed to crescendo or peak, you know, it doesn't it's a little underwhelming, and it's not necessarily because of the drop and it being underwhelming. I think it might be the way that you transition from the build into the drop, because you're building up, but it's like it's building and then the drop happens, but there's not a whole lot different from like the end of the build to the drop section. Like I can't clearly see where the drop starts. Like I don't feel like this build built up to anything. I feel like this was a build that built into another potentially build. It didn't feel like we arrived, you know? So I don't know. I think Cheese's strengths are definitely in the melodic and musical aspects, and his production has come a long way in the past year, especially since making the jump over to a DAW as opposed to the web-based thing he was using. So I would say keep going, but like for this track, I think the biggest issue that I'm having with it is that you're building up to something that isn't quite satisfying. It's not like, oh wow, you know, I didn't lose my mind when it dropped. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't like a big moment. It was just kind of like a slight development on the build. And I think a lot of the time what can help that is just simplifying when you drop, like peel it back to its bare elements, bass, you know, kick and clap, maybe one of those elements, but there's just so much happening during the build, and then there's also so much happening during the drop. So I don't know. I think if you tried to make the drop sections stand out a little bit more when it finally hits, that would probably go a long way. Also, it doesn't really sound like you're side chaining like the piano and the synths and stuff. I'm hearing side chaining on maybe the bass. Yeah, I think side chaining would help this a lot too. I think you have some in there, and if you do, it needs more, and if you don't, then it needs more. I feel like there's probably a better way of wording that. Because then you kind of have these like sustained down, 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 down. You have these pianos and this pad, and it's all very sustained. And without that side chaining, pumping it to make room for the kick, it kind of loses its impact. I think maybe that's one of the reasons why I feel like why the drops are not quite as gratifying as they could be. So more side chaining, maybe less elements when you finally decide here's the build and here's the drop. Strip it back, simplify it, break it down, low pass shit, cut shit out, remove reverb. Just make it more simple so that it's like we can really sink our teeth into it, and then start to open it back up and flourish like it does. But overall, it's a very nice harmonic and melodic track, and keep going on the production, and just maybe try to get a little bit more side chaining in there to start with. Cool. Thank you for saying. Let's move on. We got an interesting, I wonder if Kat forgot to render this. I don't know if it's the one like the other one I sent 2 weeks ago. So I feel like it's cheese music. It's kind of heavy in the minutes. I don't really remember specifically one that you sent 2 weeks ago, so I can't really answer that. Anyway, let's have a listen to Cat Attack. Oh, before we do that, God damn, I'm bad for this. Let me just Do this real quick. I feel like I'm a mouth breather right now. Okay, we should be good now. Here we go. Okay, this is cool. I feel like instead of like the 80s Phil Collins snare, maybe something a little more dry and crunchy and like distorted. Because to me, the vibe of the track, especially when this other bass comes in here, it's like, you know, but then that snare is a bit more like love ballad snare. Like I feel like there's a guy with a hairy chest and a unbuttoned shirt at the top of a mountain with the wind blowing. He's got long hair and maybe a beard, and all he has is a snare drum, and he's singing a love ballad to somebody that he loves a lot, and he's hitting the snare, and it's echoing throughout the mountains, just like his love for this person. And I feel like that's the snare that you've chosen here. I also kind of feel like it's somewhat scooped, probably mostly because of the sound of the bass. It kind of sounds like it's got this big scoop in the mids. It might also that snare might also be contributing to that, because it's got a lot of brightness to it, but it doesn't necessarily have a lot of mid-range frequencies.
In 2077, what makes someone a criminal? Getting
Getting girth.
Getting.
Okay, I like what you left at the end there for me. Yeah, I think I think a better snare would go a long way in this track. What is this, like 100 beats per minute or something? Let's find out. Let's just take a wild guess here. I feel like I'm wrong. I also think that probably fractionary. Go fuck yourself. Jesus. 110. Let's try 110. I like 110. Yeah, that looks maybe right. What was I gonna say? Let's do this. Okay, let's do this. Drum damage. Drum damage. And it's like 17, I think. I actually this snare might work quite well as a layer. I think it might be like the fact that you've reverbed it out quite heavily that makes it just a little like too nice sounding, I think is what I'm kind of getting at. Like it doesn't sound as bad once it gets in there with the other layers, but I think it's just because the other layers are masking the niceness of the snare, the gentleness almost of it. Like I need it to be more I need it to be more blunt and gross, you know? Yeah, you could cut out the reverb once the drop hits. Yeah, I think overall there's some great ideas in here, and another thought I had while listening to it is that you're gonna have to come up with some sort of alternative bass line or some sort of something to go back and forth between, because da na 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 is cool, but it's not enough to make an entire song out of. There has to be we have to get it off of that a little bit and go to da 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 da, you know, something else, and then you have 2 or maybe 3 different things that you can go between, and that would definitely extend the lifespan of the track. I also feel like your bass synths versus your drum volume, like your drums are too quiet. I think your drums are too quiet. It's like I'm listening to the bass line and then there's some drums as well. And you should rely heavily on side chaining and having those drum samples really, like the thing with that snare is it sounds kind of like it's in the background, right? And if you had like a more like upfront, dirty, disgusting snare, then it would be more of a main character in the mix. But overall, cool track. I dig it, and it makes me want to commit arson and tax fraud. Okay, let's move on. We got Coalescence, Drown. Oh, let me just make sure I didn't ruin everything. Okay, let's have a listen. That part's really cool. I think if the drums were a bit more up front, is this a me thing? Because I feel like the first 3 songs that we listened to, I just keep saying the drums are not loud enough. Maybe that's a me thing. I don't know, but I feel like the drums aren't loud enough. Let's see what tempo this is. It's fast. 155. 156. 156, we'll say. Like that little snare or clap or whatever that's in there is just barely audible. Let me just find something real quick. This one actually is kind of cool. Get rid of that little pre-shift thing though. I'm just going to try a few different snares to give you some ideas, but I think overall, especially during this part, the drums get kind of buried underneath all of the crazy synths and bass that's happening. Anyway, I think if the drums were louder, this part would be a lot more banging, as the kids say. All right, let's listen to this next part. Yeah, super cool track. I dig it. Those vocal things sound a little too loud, especially when you, like, specifically when I play it, listen to the volume of the vocal thing and the volume of the snare drum. The snare drum is but an afterthought in this one. I'm not 100% sure what the proper snare to use would be for this, and it's not like there's only one right answer, but the fact that those vocals are so up front and the snare is so down back. What's the opposite of up front? Down back? Down back. Wow, that was cool. I did it by accident. Let's see if I can recreate it. But yeah, it's really cool. There's a lot of great stuff happening. I think if the drums were just played more of an important role in terms of their presence or their volume in the track, that would get me a lot more like, it's almost like all of the sound design and all the melodic stuff that you have in there is doing a great job at connecting my heart, like, emotionally to it, but the drums aren't hitting hard enough to get my body moving with it, if that makes any sense. And it's not that it's super far off. It's just that your drums just need to hit harder and maybe focus a chunk of time instead of focusing a chunk of time on, like, all the melodic stuff. Just organize your drums. Okay, I got all these drums. Let's send them to a drum bus. Now let's get that drum bus sounding as good as we can. Let's limit the dynamics in the drum bus itself so that we can then push it a little bit harder. Maybe use some clipping, or I don't know. There's many ways to skin this cat, but I think overall, if you can get the drums hitting a bit harder, then this track is going to be much better. And then it doesn't necessarily need vocals or lyrics, but I mean, I could hear it with it. So maybe give that a shot. But yeah, very cool. Better drums, better song, Papa John's. All right, let's listen to what Bleed had to send in. That's me coughing. Okay, Bleed sent in Without You Whip. Let me make sure that I haven't destroyed the... Okay, we're good. Man, bro said boing. Boing. Wait. That sounds like diddle-doo. I'm hung up on you. What is that song? That's what that diddle-doo. Yes, thank you, Kadia. That makes sense. Okay, so this is really cool, Bleed. I dig a lot of stuff here. I feel like overall, I have two concerns with this. One is that the vocals aren't very intelligible. And that's, I think, a combination of where they're sitting in the mix, the effect that you have on them, and how much other stuff is happening at the same time. And the sidechain. I think there's 4 factors that are going into the fact that the vocals aren't super clear. The formant shift or whatever that kind of removes a lot of the high end or shifts it down. That makes the vocals not as bright. Like there's no breath to them because it's all been formant shifted down. Obviously, the side chaining is removing a bunch of the pieces of the vocals just by turning them down every time the drum hits. When there's a bunch of complicated or complex or busy sounds happening at the same time, then obviously that's going to get in the way as well. And I don't remember what the 4th thing was. Burying and over-processing my own voice. Yeah, I get that, but you have a great voice, so you don't need to. And I know that me saying that isn't going to change the way you feel about your own voice, but that's my opinion. Like, I like the sound, I like the processing that you've done, but what would it sound like if that processing was layered underneath a more dry version of your voice that's more intelligible or more clear, right? Because I want to hear what the words are, but it's kind of challenging. take me on. Like I don't know what the words are there. Yeah. I actually can't, I don't know what take me home. Okay. Optimism. Okay. Yeah, sure. Like I can hear it now that you say it. But like, yeah, I guess at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is that the effect sounds cool, but it's getting in the way of me hearing the lyrics, and that's an issue. So maybe let me hold on. Yeah, and you could get away with having like unintelligible vocals if, say, if you took these vocals that are right here and you put them back here or something where we can really clearly hear the vocals, then you could kind of cut it up and use it more in like a creative way and less of a I'm singing the song way. But where you come in and this is just us trying to listen to what the vocals are, they're just I can't understand the words. Like I don't want to tell you twice. I could hear that, but then the next line. Anyway, I'm just beating a dead horse at this point. You know what I mean. And I do think that when you're mixing your own voice, that's definitely challenging, especially when you're like, does it sound good? Does it not sound good? I'm sure you're like the rest of us and you're always second guessing that shit. But if you're going to sing, fucking sing and have it cut through. My next thought is that in terms of the beat, it's maybe a little too round, especially like the kick drum and the snare. They don't have much like snap to them, especially the kick. It's almost like it's too soft or something like that. Let's figure out what tempo this is. No way, 174 beats per minute. Oh my God, that's so crazy. Let's do this. All right, let's see what it sounds like with a bit more snappy drums. Let's see if that helps at all. Let's just get I like the kick drum, but it just almost needs like a layer of transient added to it or something. So let's try that. Let's take this and we'll just steal just the transient off of it. And is it just 4 to the, well, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that helps. And then maybe the same for this snare. Let's try a little snappy snare on there as well. I'm not saying these are the proper snares, but it's just to kind of explain my thought process. Let's take this, and it's very dubsteppy, but if we tune it up and shorten it down, because I don't mind the sounds that are there, they just need a little bit of an edge. Yeah, I think that helps. I think just overall, even like the sound of the synths, everything just kind of has a bit of a roundness to it. You know, it's oh God, I don't think we've heard this far. Okay, let's keep going. Without you, I've gotta cut you loose and learn how to do it without you. These parts are actually really, really cool. I like the, I like these drum and bass, swingy drum and bass parts. They're sick. And especially that little spicy classical note that sneaks its way in. Yeah, I think the takeaways, the two takeaways for this from my point of view is the beat needs to be sharper and less round, and the vocals need to be more intelligible and audible. And if that means stripping stuff back and exposing your naked vocals, then that's what you got to do, and you got to get over that. But it's a very cool track, and I think it just needs a little bit of a little bit more work. Okay, cool. Let's move on. We got Aiden Dodge, Whistle. Make sure I didn't master. I don't think I did. Okay, we're good.
All the boys and girls in the club, get ready to feel what it's like in the bass hub. I start feeling super spastic, wanna hear the model in plastic. I start feeling super cool when I hear what lifeguards use at the pool. To make this really sizzle, you gotta bring in that motherfucking whistle. Blow that fucking whistle, bitch.
Oh, this is ridiculous. I love it. So, when it dropped, I like what it's doing, but it just didn't, I don't know, maybe just like would a cymbal help? Something.
Blow that fucking whistle, bitch.
I don't know, let's just try a cymbal. There's just something about the drop that was kind of anticlimactic. So let's just grab, I don't know. None of those. Sure, why not?
Blow that fucking whistle, bitch. Blow that fucking whistle, bitch.
Maybe. What are you talking about? Today's episode? That's like every episode. So you have doom, 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 doom. You have like these toms going, right? And you also have you have like this like 16th note like other tom thing. Maybe get rid of the or something. There's just, it's almost like there's too much shit all at the same time when it drops. What if it was just down ba dum 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 ba with the whistle thing going on top of it, right? And then bring in the like simplify it. Just have it boom da boom da boom da boom da boom da boom da boom, and with the whistle thing on top of it, and then start bringing in the other elements. I think that's going to be a much harder hitting drop.
Whistle, bitch. All the boys and girls in the club, get ready to feel what it's like in the bass hub. I start feeling super spastic, wanna hear the model in plastic.
There's still some like timing issues with the rap on it.
All the boys and girls in the club, get ready to feel what it's like in the bass hub.
It's like almost like feels early or something. Like some of the words are happening before the beat. It kind of feels a bit rushed.
Girls in the club, get ready to feel.
Get ready, like, yeah. I think the timing is generally rushed a little bit, and you can almost always get away with it being a little bit late. It kind of just feels more hip hop and laid back, but you can't really get away with vocals being early, at least most of the time. But yeah, the timing on the vocals gets a little bit drifty here and there. That's because there's a delay issue with the mic itself. Yeah, but once you record it, then just move it around, you know? Cut up the words, move them around. Problem solved.
That fucking whistle, bitch.
Yeah, I feel the same way about this drop. Like maybe drop with the snare this time and with maybe the hi-hat or the ride or whatever's on the upbeat. But I think it's the mixed with the whistle and the boom do 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 the tom. There's just almost too busy. Like the beat is too busy. So another thing that's happening is there's a lot of bottom end in those toms and stuff. So like the sub range is not like a solid like dong 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 dong. It's kind of getting a bit muddied up. So I think pulling some of those elements out for the first of the drop, so it's just really hard hitting dong 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 with the whistle on top is gonna be sick. But I think this is really cool and weird and wacky. I think you just gotta strip back the start of the drop, fix the timing on the vocals, and have the drop hit harder. Okay, those are my thoughts. Thanks for sending. Okay, we got very fast aerospace vehicle meeting a mountain at Mach 13. Who the fuck sent this in? Let's have a listen. Wow. Okay, there's a lot of stuff was happening. Very cool. It's nice. I like hearing people improve. And this one is really cool. There's a lot of great stuff. I think that the biggest thing that's going to help this track is to have more well-defined builds and drops. I wasn't quite sure, like I enjoyed the whole thing, but I wasn't quite sure like where I was in the track at any given point, you know, especially if I didn't have this waveform open. It just kind of like continually goes and evolves and builds and stuff happens and lots of great stuff happens, don't get me wrong, but it's almost like pick a spot that's going to be like the start of the drop, build up to it, have some sort of fill or something to like let us know, like build our anticipation up. It, to me, I kind of felt like I was just along for the ride the entire time, and I wasn't feeling my hypeness being hyped up and then being delivered on, you know, like I didn't feel like you were playing with my anticipation enough. I feel like it just kind of like, it kind of grooved out the whole time. I felt like I was kind of like in a bit of a jam band situation where I was just grooving, you know, and that's fine. And maybe that's okay. I'm not really sure. You know, it's not like there's anything that's not okay, unless you know, I guess if you're being racist in your songs, but I think mostly I just would have rathered have like more clearly, what's the word I'm looking for? More clearly defined builds and more clearly defined drops and more clearly defined breakdown sections. For example, right here. So like here, I think this is a build, right? Yes, but the sub bass is just as loud and just as powerful as when the drop hits. So when the drop hits and we have the same amount of energy in the bottom end, we just have better, stronger drums on it. That's not as impactful as if you stripped back some of the bass, maybe you high passed it, or it just, there was no clear definition in volume between the build and the drop. There was just things that changed in terms of the way that the drum sounded, but it wasn't clear enough to say, hey, this is the build. Get ready. You better fucking get ready, because you're going to lose your mind when this thing happens. You know, and you could change nothing about the drop right here. You could change absolutely nothing at all, but just by introducing it in a different way, it will hit harder because of the contrast. You know, you're taking the bass away from us. You're taking the bass away, and we want the bass. Give us the bass back. And you're like, nah, not yet. Wait, you got to earn that bass, you know? And then eventually snare hit and we get the bass back with the whole drop, and it's like, yes, that is what I was waiting for. So overall, I would say that the track sounds great. Each individual section doesn't necessarily need a whole lot of work. It's just how you are introducing and how you're managing your energy levels throughout the track. And you can kind of tell by the shape of the waveform. I mean, you can't clearly look at this and say any part is any part. It just all kind of looks like it's grooving along, which is what it sounds like. So anyway, I hope that some of that made sense. It's a very cool track and I dig it. Thank you for sending. All right, let's listen to Velcode ID8, 140 beats per minute. Also amps, make sure you send it in at 320 kilobit per second. That was a 192. We'll let it slide this time, and next time I'm stealing your arm. Okay, Velcode ID8, 140 BPM, arrangement, help after first drop, 17, 11, 23 after P, but I'm going to listen while I'm doing that. All right, that sounded sick. I gotta go back. Yeah, so mixing and production and sound design, mastering, it all sounds great. I have no issues with any of that. What I will say is that I feel like 90% of your effort went into the drops, which is, you know, not necessarily wrong, but I like the melodic, the da 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 da, whatever. That's cool, but I feel like it's not playing enough of a part in the track outside of like right before the drop and stuff. I don't know if you're planning on having vocals or something, but to me, it's missing that main hook. You do have a great hook, this thing. But excuse me, it sounds to me like that hook is it should be borrowed from a bigger phrase that's happening in the build sections, if that makes sense. So like maybe that's like an octave up version of a vocal that's in the build sections that's more fleshed out. It's more like there's lyrics, or there's more of a hook, a longer, more developed hook, and then you're stealing part of that, the bam 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 bam. You steal that for the drop, but in the non-drop sections, you have the more developed, fuller version of whatever that hook is going to be. And now I know you said arrangement help. Well, I think if you had a more developed melody in these breakdown sections, then after this second drop does its cool sound design thing, you could go into like a more melodic kind of dubstep with the melody in it, and that could be that could be like the B section of your drop, and maybe that happens both times. Maybe it's like this. And what happens is you get like the cool sound design drop here, and then instead of going to the breakdown, you go to here's the melody on top of like check this out for an example. Where would that be? Fowler, one sec. It's the Wales remix of Anyway that comes to mind. Fowler and where the fuck? Where are you? Where are you? Why can't I find? Oh, there we go. Wales remix. Okay, so check this out. So we get. So he has like more of a melodic, like filled out versus. You know, and then he does that crazy sound design drop again, but then he brings the vocals back in. And that way he's kind of combining some of the elements of the melodic sections with the drop sections. So that might help you out moving forward with your arrangement. But I do think that you got to focus some time on the non-drop sections and find some magic in those sections, whether it's lyrics or synth hook or whatever it is melodically. Find some magic in those non-drop sections, and then maybe in your B section of the drop sections, you can introduce those melodic elements in with the drop in a creative way. But yeah, in terms of mixing and mastering and production and sound design, it all sounds great to me. So hope that helps. All right, let's move on. We got the classical boy here. This is Cry Test, I think. Is that what his name is? Yes. Track 10. Wonder what the first 9 tracks sounded like. I don't know why, but this kind of reminded me of like a pirate, and that I kind of look like a pirate in that baby picture. Anyway. All right. Very good musically. I wouldn't change anything musically. I think the biggest challenge you're having is the guitar, because I had to pull, oopsies. Let's go back here. If we listen to the electric guitar. Hear the difference when I bypass this, turn this off and on, listen to it with it off. It's like, it's really harsh up in this frequency right here. And it, it kind of sucks because the rest of the track needs more top end in general. That's why that might be a bit much to do that. But like in general, the track needs more brightness, but that guitar in that 3 to 5 kilohertz range is just... It's very resonant. So I would take your guitar track specifically and just scoop out a lot of that harshness, because to me it sounds better when I pull that out. But I'm pulling that frequency, obviously, because I only have the master. I'm pulling that frequency out of all of the elements. So if you could just go in and target just the electric guitar and pull out that harsh frequency range, then you'll probably find the guitar fits in the mix a whole lot better. But yeah, basically my only thoughts are the track could be brighter overall, and that guitar is harsh as fuck. Everything else sounds great, and it makes me want to go on a journey and maybe discover some ancient artifact that at first seems like it would bring a lot of value to my life, but it turns out to only highlight the materialistic problems that I have. And, maybe it gives me like 3 wishes and I choose to be rich and famous and have 14 beautiful wives. And then I realize that it's not the wishes, but it's the journey and the friends you make along the way. And if none of that made sense to you, that's fine, because it didn't make sense to me either. All right, let's move on. Thank you for sending Cry Test. Very cool and very classical as always. And maybe I'm using classical in a slightly offensive way. I have no idea. Okay, let's have a listen to Simulcats, Break Loose. Damn Girl. I think that's what this song should be called. Damn Girl. This is beats to slide into her DMs to. All right, cool. I have no comments. That thing was sick. The thing being the song. It's great. I honestly don't think I have any notes for this one. It sounds dope. Just put it out. What's the current order in the queue? If you look over on the left-hand side, this is the current order. Yeah, wish I had something to help, but I think it's sick and you should just release it. And if you want to use this as your album art, go to town. Okay, cool. Thank you. I enjoyed that thoroughly. What do we got next? Chantel, Impossible 10-2 remix. All right. This is an aggressive fade in, I'll say that. Like maybe do this.
I remember years ago, someone told me I should take caution when it comes to love. I did.
Okay, right off the top, the vocals are very lost in the mix. They're buried under there.
Wrong and I was not my illusion, my mistake. I was careless, I forgot I did. And now, when all is done, there is nothing to say. You have gone there so effortlessly. You have won, you can go ahead, tell them all I know. Them shining from the room now, riding off the skyline. All we can is go now. Tell them I was happy and my heart is broken. All the stars are open. Tell them what I hope would be impossible. Falling out of love is hard. Falling for betrayal is worse. Broken trust.
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking about this, besides the bitrate issue. There, I cleared my throat. I think we're good to continue now. So I already touched on the vocals being buried, but they get even more buried. Like that big wall of sound, it's too much. It's too, wow, way up there on top of everything. Who is Shark? So I think you could do a few different things. You could first of all, I think it needs to be quieter, just in general, like overall quieter. But also, you could low pass fade it down and have the vocals really cut through, and you just have this nice warm pad that's like opening up as you get closer to the drop. If you want to come in guns blazing, like you're currently doing, the pad just needs to be way quieter, and the vocals need to be more up front. The vocals are just getting buried. And then the next thing is, and I can't remember which track it was, we already kind of discussed the same idea. There's not a whole lot of difference between the build and the drop section. There's like the bass is just as thick, the wall of sound is just as wall. Everything is just as loud. The only difference is there's a snare, and then we get the kick and the snare, and that's not enough to justify it being a drop. So what I would do is you're going to have to change one thing or another. I would probably strip out the sub bass, or at least make it much quieter, so that when you finally drop, you have delivered something. We have gone somewhere. We haven't just added a kick and a snare, right? Because you can't just add a kick and a snare and call it a drop. There has to be a increase in energy. There has to be something that changes, that delivers, that you're creating an itch, and then you scratch it with the drop. You know, you're building anticipation, then you're delivering on it when you hit the drop, and that's not what's happening right now. It's basically just building up, and then you've added a kick and a snare. And this with the melody, that thing, it almost sounds like a B section to the drop, kind of like that Wales remix example that I used a couple songs ago. It's like it goes right into the full melodic drop, as opposed to maybe something that's a bit more sound designy, or something that's a bit more choppy, or something that's a bit more aggressive or impactful. It almost sounds like you've skipped like the drop section and went right to the B section of the drop where you bring the melody in. Let's keep going.
Out of love is hard, falling for that trail is worse. Broken trust and broken hearts. I know, thinking all you need is there. Building faith on love and words, empty promises.
So like if you listen specifically to the vocals and the piano, and you think about their relationship to each other in terms of their amplitude or their volume or presence.
Building faith on love and words, empty promises.
Yeah, the piano is quite subdued because it's being played softly and it doesn't have like all those overtones, but it's still very present in the mix. It's on top of the vocals.
And if you're done with embarrassing me, on your own you can go ahead, tell them all I know.
And again, I have the same issue. This almost sounded like it was going to do a proper drop thing. You know, if that was, or maybe it fakes out, does a Rayhem thing, fakes out for like a bar or a measure or something. And then into the drop right there, that could work. But I think overall, you're going to have a lot easier of a time if you turn that pad down, that big wall of sound, because it is basically determining the volume of the track. Like that is the loudest thing in the track, is that massive wall of sound pad. So bring that down, bring the vocals up, and try to build the anticipation and deliver a little bit more aggressively. And I probably would use this as the B section. Because maybe you can build up with that wall of sound, and then you take the wall of sound out and you have some cool drop section that is a contrast against that. Then you bring the wall of sound back in when the melodic part happens. But anyway, those are my thoughts. Cool track, and keep going. All right, 720 needs some gangsta bars. Oh my God, are you asking me to rap on this? This is cool. I like this so far. One thing that immediately came to mind was if you're doing this little double kick thing here, it sounds to me like this kick is still ringing out as this one starts, and it's causing some phase issues in the bottom end. I could be wrong, but it sounds like this kick is going like this, right? And this kick is on top of it, and they're adding and they're interacting with each other. Where if you took this kick and you cut it off when this kick happened, that would probably be a little cleaner to do it that way. Let's see what tempo this is, like fucking 75 or something. Nope. 84. Nope. $79. Nice. Almost 69, but 79. I don't even remember what I was going to do, but anyway, let's keep listening. All right, let's try lo-fi beats to realize you're an asshole too. On this and just see what happens. Maybe it'll be funny. Is it 73 beats per minute? 73. And then this guy, once it's done stretching, fit tempo, 73. Late again, da 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 da. It's in da da da. It's in a key. I don't know what the key is yet, but I will figure it out. Late again. Hold on.
Late again.
Late again. Den 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 den.
Late again. Got kicked out of the bed again. She thought I was hitting on a friend again. I swear that I didn't.
Na, 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 na. Why am I spending time doing this? I don't know. Whatever. I don't know what key it's in. I can't figure it out right now.
Late again. Got kicked. Late again. Late again. Got kicked out of the bed again.
Ding, ding.
Again. Got kicked out of the bed again. She thought I was hitting on a friend again. I swear that I didn't, but then again, looks like I'm sleeping on the couch again.
This is like nightmare inducing.
Late again.
Late. It's on the downbeat. Fuck.
Late again. Late again. Got kicked out of the bed again.
Okay, so we've come to the conclusion that these two songs do not work together. What do I think about this? I think it does need some gangster bars. I think it needs maybe a shorter kick and an 808 to do like a bass line. There's a bit of bass that comes in here, but it's like not bassy enough. Oh, it's in C. That sounds dope, and all I'm doing is playing in low C. Something like that. Hey, Dovey, I don't think I'm going to have time tonight, unfortunately. I got kind of a prior commitment that I got to get off to. So that sounded wrong, didn't it? Anyway, just submit next week. Sorry. Yeah, so I would say get some gangster rap on this, shorten the kick up, and add an 808 bass line, and boom, away you go. I think that is the way. But it's very cool. I dig this track. It sounds like I'm on like a city transit bus staring out the window, and it's raining out, and it's kind of like fall and gray and shitty out, and there's like kind of miscellaneous crimes happening around the city that I'm watching and observing. I don't know. That's just the first thing that comes to my head. All right, let's move on. Thank you for sending, dude. That sounded cool. We got Rage Stone ID, don't care about naming. Wow, what a sassy biatch. Here we go. Okay, there's a lot of very cool noises happening. I feel like you tantalized us a little bit too long before you kicked it into high gear. You know, like okay, I get that. But I feel like the build should end here and not still do this. I feel like you should get into the drum beat quicker. I also feel like the drums don't quite cut through hard enough. They almost sound a little lo-fi compared to all the crispiness of the bass sound. Oh, you know what? Try sidechaining to the snare as well, because I think it's mostly the snare that just doesn't feel like it's powerful enough. Like the snare doesn't cut through, and I think it's because I don't think you're sidechained to it. I don't know what the tempo is. This one might be a little challenging to get the tempo sorted. Where's the first kick? Right there, maybe? Oh, okay, thank you. Otherwise known as 90. Yeah, I think it's mostly the snare. The snare is just like not really there. It's let's just grab whatever. think right there. Let's try that. And then I'm also going to sidechain your whole track to it. Yeah, we're doing the snares again. Yeah, so to me, the snare is just buried in under the mix somewhere. And I think, you know, I don't mind the sound of the snare. It's kind of a little crusty, but like in a cool kind of character kind of way. But the thing that I don't dig so much is how it doesn't cut through the mix at all, which is what I'm trying to solve here with this shit. Hear how much more defined the beat becomes if I do this shit. Like it breaks you've got so much like dirt happening the whole time. It kind of breaks it up a little bit, which is nice, I think. Okay, let's keep going. Maybe having like some sort of cool, some sort of cool like reverbed out, like vocal thing, you know, where it's not necessarily words, but I think that would add a dimension to this. That would be nice. The whole track is super interesting. It's very unique and dark and weird, and I dig it a lot. I just think that if you had a more defined snare cutting through, that would really add a nice edge to it. Whereas everything else it's kind of, it's all mixed and matched all amongst itself. And if you had a side chained snare that was snapping through, it would break up, I don't want to say the monotony of that, but it would break up that, all that stuff and chop it into a bit more of like a groove. And then I think if you found some sort of like melodic thing to play with in the breakdown sections, whether it's like a chopped up kind of soulful vocal thing that's down an octave or up an octave or reverbed out or something, I think that would add a lot too. But it's overall it's very cool. All the sound designs is very interesting and keeps my attention quite well. So good job, thanks, cool. All right, let's move on. We got Coder B5 Nostalgia Updated. Let's have a listen. So, my first thing right here feel like that cut could be.
I wanna love you, I wanna hold you, I wanna love you and treat you right. I wanna love you, delve into you. I wanna love you, love you. I don't even know how to try. Me and you, it was magic, but everything is so tragic, and I can't wait to be out of love. I can't wait to be out of love. I'm being honest, how much I want this. I'm being honest, I'll make you want this. I'm being honest, I'm being honest.
Okay, this is really good. It's like a 80s love ballad. I dig it. I think the vocals are a little too upfront.
I'm being honest.
It kind of sounds almost like a I don't want to say a karaoke mix, but it kind of sounds like the vocals are sitting on top of the track and they're not really in the track. And I also think like this is like the chorus, I think.
I'm being
Maybe bring in some ooh, like some like harmony, oohs and ahs in the background to really drive home the fact that this is the chorus. I think that would be really nice.
I wanna love you, I wanna hold you, I wanna love you and treat you right. I wanna love you, delve into you. I wanna love you, love you. I don't even know how to try. Me and you, it was magic, but everything. I'm being honest, how much I want this. I'm being honest, I'll make you want this. I'm being honest, how much I want this. I'm being honest, I'm being honest, how much I want.
Yeah, I think there needs to be another element in the chorus to really pick it up, because we still get the ding 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 ding, and yeah, it's a little bit, the production has come up a little bit, but having like this like maybe 3-part harmony that's ooh or something, that would be cool. I think that's gonna take it to the next level. It does sound very Christmassy too. I think the bell sounds aren't doing that. I mean, it's not a bad thing, but it definitely is driving home the Christmas vibe. So yeah, I think really treat that. See if you can get that chorus to stick out a bit better with either some oohs and ahs or some more instrumentation or something else. I feel like that's the biggest thing you got to work on right now, is making that chorus slap us in the face with the word chorus. That's all I got. The rest sounds good. Cool. All right, let's move on again. We got Ice Kayab. Stay hydrated. All right. Okay, so up until this point, there's really not a whole lot of music happening, and maybe that's not necessarily a problem, but to me, I didn't hear any sort of identifiable theme or anything like that leading up to the drop. It just kind of sounds like effects and drums. Yeah, I think you're gonna have to figure out what the musical elements of this are gonna be, because so far it's mostly just sound design and effects and drums and stuff. And all this drop stuff is, yeah, I agree with that, Jacob. I think the crowd ambience is too loud as well. All of this is cool drop stuff, but without like context, it's kind of pointless. Like, just a drop section on its own without some sort of musical ideology kind of context surrounding it, it's not as meaningful or powerful as if you had some sort of like theme or hook or something. I think for the drop sections, they sound dope. I think Jacob is right. The ambience or the noise is too loud. But yeah, I think you have a cool skeleton here, and now you need to infuse it with some music to give it a theme, give it a feeling, give it a vibe. Right now, it's just like, here are some drop sections and some effects in between the drop sections. So that's what I would do with this track. But the drop sections sound really cool. I think if the ambience was down quite a bit, or maybe even gone during the first section of the drop, it would be much more hard hitting. All right, let's move on. I'm kind of getting low on time, so we're going to do these two, and then we're going to pop away. We got Higher You Think, Hideout, Firelight, Incomplete Vocal. Let's have a listen.
It's romantic, 3 cuts on, I'm static. I'm old now, I think that I had it. Fuck my youngest like Adam. Fuck with my boy like Tidrick. Passing my hat like a baton. Then I'm out of here just like a phantom. Bigger than me, I got tangents. Vanish, I'm banished. You know my intentions, no malice. I'm betting my arm on a palace of mansion. I hide how you think that I'm madder. I seen the sunrise like the dawn. I'm leaving my brothers a bond. I promise, I hope you'll respond. I see the ocean, the fuck is a pond. Damn.
Walking down the wire, tripping off of these faded fumes. I came from nothing, but I built my way up to the roof. Ride the wave until I'm king of the world. Ain't nothing left but story written down these real ruins. Written down these real ruins. Out of space like a Sailor Moon. Astronomical journey to my life is looking real new. My life is looking real new. You walked into my life, fire in the night, crawling right into the light, like a firefly. You walked into my life, fire in the night.
This is all really cool, but I'm like, holy fuck, when are we getting to like the drop or the chorus?
Crawling right into the light, like a firefly.
So if this is the drop, and I'm not 100% sure because there's no like sub bass, it's just kind of like the kick drum. Everything that's here sounds dope, but it feels like it's missing. Okay, that part's sick. Let's not get ahead of ourselves there, Nick. Yeah, like this section, I feel like we're almost 2 minutes into the song, and it doesn't feel like it's dropped, or it doesn't feel like it's arrived at like the main sound. You know, it hasn't paid off yet. So I think if this is gonna be when it goes to the four to the floor beat, if that's going to be like the chorus or the drop section, it's got to happen sooner, I think, because we're almost like 2 minutes in, waiting for a bass player. Okay, all right, well maybe that will make a difference because I'm hearing like something like that, and it doesn't really happen, so it's kind of a letdown right now. But hey, if you're planning on putting a bass there, then that's fine. Yeah, like if this had like a thick bass, it'd be sick.
You walked into my life, fire in the night, crawling right into the light, like a firefly. You walked into my life, fire in the night, crawling right into the light, like a firefly.
Okay, but we got bass here. So why not just use that bass in the other parts? Also, whoever said that you sent in before the stream started, at 5 p.m. I just cut it off. Normally I would take it, but I'm like running late on something, so just submit next week and get it in before 5 p.m. I'm looking at it, it's 5:02. It was close. And normally I would just take them throughout the stream if I had time, but I just don't have time tonight, sorry. So yeah, Jacob, this sounds really great. I think need to get to the chorus a bit quicker. And obviously the lack of bass is an issue. But in terms of everything else, this is all very cool sounding. The vocals sound great. All the cool, that's all, it's all good. I think what you're going to have to do is get that bass player involved so you can know exactly what you're aiming for and then adjust your trajectory to get there a bit sooner, because I just feel like it's not that I'm getting bored, it's that I'm getting lost. So I'm not quite sure, like right around the minute mark, I'm just kind of thinking like, I'm not quite sure where I'm at right now, you know? So yeah. That's what I think. I think it's great. Maybe even the vocals are so good that maybe you need to strip it back a little bit during certain parts to let those vocals really cut through. Like sections where, let's find one. Like maybe here, don't have like pull out all the guitar and everything, just have da 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 and the vocals, then bring the guitar in, then drop, you know, like give the vocals some opportunities to really cut through. Okay, that's what I think. Let's do the last one, then I gotta go. So we got Idexi Detach. Here we go. Okay, I think the biggest issue here in this drop is that everything is very in the center. There's no stereo width, or at least not a lot. Like the bass, the wubs, the squeaky lead thing, it's all right down the center, and that causes it to be congested because it's all kind of on top of itself in a spatial stereo kind of sense. I feel like you need melody or vocals or something here. It sounds like it's missing like the main element. It doesn't hold my attention well enough. See, if I solo just the side channels, all the bass and everything, all the dirty stuff goes away. If you could figure out a way of spreading those sounds around stereo-wise, and I don't just mean slap a stereo-wizer on it or anything like that, but if you can find a way to place some of those sounds a little bit differently in the stereo field, you're going to have a lot easier of a time mixing this, because right now, it doesn't matter how you mix this in terms of EQ or volume or any of that shit, it's never going to really play together very well because it is all on top of each other in the stereo sense. But you have like, this is a great skeleton to build on. You have a lot of great sounds. It's very hype. It's high energy. It hits hard. I think finding some sort of vocal hook or, melodic hook or a combination of the both, and then also spreading stuff out stereo-wise a little bit better, all of a sudden you're going to be in a much better spot. And that's what I think about that one. Okay, this is just me. I hope you guys have a good weekend. I love you and all of that other stuff. I got to run because I'm running behind. But thanks for hanging out. It's always fun, and I look forward to seeing you next week. If I didn't get a chance to get to your track, throw her in next week, get it in before 5, and I will listen to it. Okay, have a good weekend. Bye.